suffer throughout the regular season, right? And then after that, suddenly when Powerful gets the book,
The
he decides,
book.
and then the playoff buff comes early. This time round, this season, they're going back to the same traditional Team Evo that we know and love. They're late to the playoff buff, and it feels like you can start to sense that hey, they're securing that playoff buff creep, and they're slowly starting to take the buff away.
Well, we'll see in this draft. Starting it off,
Hmm.
Evil banning out the Matilda and the Lucas. Very tough heroes to deal with, especially for the side of Evil. You want to play that team fight
Yep.
composition. Lucas is going to tear you apart, especially once he goes into Unleash the Beast form.
Hmm.
That's going to be a huge mound to
Yeah.
hurdle.
Apart from the fact that I personally feel is that Lucas is just so broken in terms of his damage capabilities. I think when he's designed as a fighter, he's supposed to like be fighter, right?
Yes.
But some other MPL start to realize that hey, he has nutty numbers,
Yes.
and his growth in terms of his damage is actually very crazy. So people start putting him into assassin, especially when he goes beast form. He gains bonus damage, bonus HP,
Bonus defense,
bonus defense,
resilience.
everything, and CC immunity.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
an assassin, that's not what you want to deal with.
the only balance that they have is you know when Lucas is going to pop off. Once that passive bar fills up to
Yep.
red, that's when he starts
Yep.
to pop off, and that's when you don't want to start a team fight. On the other side of the table, though, KGV banning out the Kalea, Harith, and Chip. The Loya is on the tables this time around.
Mhm.
Evo is open and up for pickings for it. You want to pick that up for Sayla, that would work very, very well.
Yep.
But to go for the Boxer instead, I think the Boxer first pick kind of works, but it gives a little bit of flexibility, especially for gear, as
Mhm.
well as Powerful, how he wants to play this. And I remember, Powerful in the
Whoa.
jungle, he was basically using Boxia every single matchup in season 5 or 6, I remember.
Mhm.
And him playing the Boxia again in the roam brings a whole new level of gameplay for
Yeah,
Evil.
yeah, and it's kind of interesting, right? Like I definitely am looking forward to Powerful playing the Bucks here as a roam because technically speaking, you're doing especially what you're supposed to do as a jungler, except for the fact that you are holding on to retry,
Yeah.
right? So I really echo what you were saying. I hope this Bucks here goes into the hands of Powerful instead of Gear, and but we will never know, right? King's Vanguard, like what I mentioned, this is a flex pick going in. So they're going to go back to basics. Badang, once again, as well, can be flexed onto EXP, but we're seeing a lot of popularity in terms of the roam, and we're also going to get a Moskov as well. So more cross-map plays coming out, something that Luxembourg also play. And in fact, Moskov is like one of the highest picks gold laners in MPL Singapore Season 9.
Yeah, I like the fact that Dr. Sain's getting Moskov right now because he knows his own disadvantage, especially in the laning phase. Once you have that late game power spike, the late game
Mhm.
space that you want to play all over that map, it gives you some time to really farm up, get your core items, and then
Mhm.
really pop off in the
Whoa.
late game. So Loy is going to be going to the
There you
hands of
go.
Sayla. There we go. One of his signature heroes all the way back from Season 4, playing it now today. Bruno would be picked up again for Vincent against the Moskov. In the early game, Moskov will suffer a little bit. Bruno would definitely have the advantage.
Mhm.
But now, last pick over to KGV. Will they
Yep.
pick up the Kimmy, though?
Yeah, Loyi being picked twice by Sailor as well. Actually, this is the second time he's been picked. This is the second time he picked this, and the last time he picked it, he won with it. So it also shows that his confidence as well, and not only just that, it was also like a pseudo chip, right? Now you talk about the mobility around the map. Team Evo does have a lot of mobility in the form of Baxia in terms of even the Loyi to a certain extent. So now King's Vanguard, they need to try to match it, and it seems like you're gonna go for the X-Walk first. Of course, you can flex it as easily. You've seen Hades brought it over to Xbox last week. You also see it just now where Gear brought it over to the EXP lane. So I like what King's Vanguard is doing. Like I said, there's a lot of flex picks being picked up here, but Carrot seems like Team Evo, seems like the blue side always wants to lock in their gold and mid lane early on in the first phase of the draft.
Yeah. I think it kind of works with how they want to play it. Just make sure that you have that core priority going down first, especially in the gold lane. I think for KGV, their mid lane is in shambles. Evo's definitely going to target that for bans.
Yeah.
But actually, though, KGV banning out their own Hanzo
Mm-hmm.
instead.
Vincent also can use the Hanzo as well. He used it to great success last week.
Yeah.
Same idea as how Anandez would want to use it, and now because Moskov is also kind of squishy and also gets very vulnerable. Albeit later parts of the game you get the kite, but this also means that they're gonna go for something like even more like a Farsa, perhaps like a Yve or even like a something like a Vixana, something that doesn't really have a lot of mobility to kite against a Hanzo.
No artilleries this time around. Because Jewel banning out the Ling as well,
Yeah.
denying it away from the hands of
Yeah,
Vincent.
it feels like if you're Carrot right now, you want to take away the Farsas, like the it's artillery strikes, right? And now after that, King's Vanguard, if they really want to go artillery, there's only Yves
Yves.
left, or perhaps even a Vixana.
You
Or
want
if
to
you
try Xavier? You want to go a little bit more
wow,
tricky
Xavier,
this time around? Xavier kind of works as well because it kind of has the mystic field that locks you, roots you in place.
correct.
So it has zonal control, which is what KGV kind of needs.
Mm.
Pairs up well with Moskov as well.
Mhm.
So if you have the SOD, you have the Dawning Light, Moskov is able to have backup, especially from a great range.
Yep, and now, ooh, okay,
The Selena,
instead of going for the far side, goes and bans away the Selena instead. Okay,
great counter intelligence, especially
Yeah.
when you have the Loy in your hand.
yeah. Now that you mentioned it, it actually really makes a lot of sense, right? Like Selena, these traps allow you to kind of open the map, detect where the Loi is coming from. But apart from that, this also means that King's Vanguard has high priority to go even for the Farsa or even for the Eve. Personally, I like the Eve a lot better because Eve, at least when you get CC, you don't get pushed away from the real world manipulation. Whereas the Farsa, you have like the things like a Loi that can basically, or even a Vaxia can knock you off from that feather airstrike.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about the Leaf in KGV's entire synergy right now
Yeah.
is the fact that they don't really have a lot of magic damage as of now. So if you want to put a Yeve, you have only
Joy.
utility. So they go for the Yeve instead, and like you said, crowd control immunity, especially once you pop in the ultimate, gives you second lease of life. Evo though, going into their hands, the assassin plays might be going into either Hayabusa, very easy access in the back line, especially onto Yeve.
Yep. I think they need something like a high loss, right? Like from the side of Team Evil, they need a way to try to be able to run out of the real world manipulation. You can see the potential wombo combo coming out from the side of King's Vanguard. Yves to box everybody in, continue with a Badang to basically lock you in a wall with their ultimate and potential last insanity coming in. So they really need to find a way to get out of the box. And the way to get out of the box immediately, like what I mentioned, either you burst down the Yves so that you can basically free yourself, and you also get that slow immunity. You also get the high loss for yourself, at least another additional stun, but instead of that, they're going to go for the glue instead. Possess somebody to basically try to get out. So this goes back to Team Evil's issue, right? In game number 1, they go for a clash composition, but this one, I don't know. It feels to me they're going back for a pick composition and a poke composition to a certain extent.
Yeah, 2 damage dealers on the back line. You have the Baxia as sort of like that backline defense. Glue and Joy could just go ham onto the opponent's backline themselves and try to disrupt their gameplay. But the problem is KGV doesn't really have a lot of backline. Moskov really likes to be in your face. Hayabusa also likes to be in your face. So it's only Yves that is pretty much wide and open. So to be honest though, the Hayabusa pickup right here works very well, especially when you want to target the Bruno and the Loi.
Especially the Loi.
Especially Loi.
You go into the iframes, Loi's passive cannot touch you anymore. And it allows you to basically just deal the damage onto the Joy as well when it goes to the ultimate. So you don't fight him. Hayabusa seems like a really good choice, but like I said, King's Vanguard, this draft looks very scary. As long as you get the members of Team Evil inside the real world manipulation box, that's it. It's easy pickings for the side of King's Vanguard. So Team Evil has to play it really smart.
It just screams zone control for me, especially for KGV. I do like the fact that Evil has a much more reliable hero, especially in the off lane split pushes in the Joy, than the Hayabusa, because Hayabusa's shadows in the late game has lower cooldown, but you know, we'll see in the execution. As we go into game number 2, Team Evil 1 game away from clean sweeping this series and getting 1 point ahead of KGV and Kingdom Esports. But will KGV actually manage to, hold themselves on top, keep themselves afloat in this matchup? We're starting things slow, very, very passively. Wow. Knocking Powerful into their wall, able to walk out of the way. Oh, that diversion play, taking a lot of damage.
Yep, Sayla in the early game does have a lot of damage in terms of this passive proc, right? But apart from that, the Powerful on this roam, on this Baxia, is basically very, very nice, right? It basically goes back into his something as a comfort that he used to play in the form of jungle. And this is something that I really want to talk about. Apart from the fact that we're going to talk about the gold lane matchup, right? Bruno's going to have a better time as compared to Luxian's name because of the
Powerful. The spot bother, Revitalize, brings him up. We just chase that down. Just touch and go for both sides. Very, very passive, very slow. And how you want Evo to kind of play that early game is driving that momentum, ramping up the aggression,
Yeah.
and shifting into high gear really right from the early game.
King's Vanguard needs a lot more time. Hayabusa definitely need more items around level 5, level 6. That's where the Shadow Kill really, truly shines. And of course, King's Vanguard, when Walker Knuckle starts picking up the level 4, the real world manipulation, that's where King's Vanguard will strike. But without Liechtenstein in tow, he needs some more time to farm to become that late game monster. Evo's hope to neutralize this by putting a lot of pressure onto Ven. That's where you see the pathing from Nandes.
Good read from Ven on the top side, from the shadows.
Mhm.
Now, 5 seconds till the turtle spawns up. Looks like Evo in a better position contest for this one. Starting with the first early rotations, powerful, making his way over to the turtle. Bao, sourcing for information, he knows where Segala is, and that is something that you need to look out for. Segala doesn't have level 4 yet, so diversion is not in play. King's Vanguard really needs to watch their 6, though. At any point in time.
Yeah, Bao clearing the bottom lane should allow him to get to level 4 first as compared to Bao. So Bao is a little bit down in terms of the priority. So King's Vanguard is walking into this particular team fight with a little bit of a disadvantage, right? Sayla doesn't really need the level 4 because her damage as a Loi is already there. Like,
Yes.
like the passive proc is there. You don't need the ultimate to do anything else. So there's a really wise rotation coming out of Team Evil, and I respect that coming out from them.
Actually, it's a very slow level 4, especially from the Loi Yi. I would have thought, like, okay, get the level 4, get the diversion play, go for an earlier kind of diversion, backline play, or sort of like a flank maneuver. But they choose to hold on to the diversion because they don't want to give off their secrets just as of yet. It's still too early. If they know it and they give up that secret, knowing, okay, I'm going to the tri-bush, and Sayla likes to play that tri-bush, then King's Vanguard kind of knows how to read Sayla's gameplays.
Yeah, so in fact, it seems like Team Evil is going to walk into this turtle, going for a front-to-back kind of composition. They're just going to fight front-to-back. They don't care. This is going to play standard. This is where, don't forget, this is where Team Evil truly shines. I like to fight front and back. I will probably have some crazy flanks, maybe perhaps on the side of Vincent to a certain extent. But Vincent, of course, you know, as a Joy, can exactly do that easily.
Yeah, there's a lot of dimensions that Joy can play around. Usually it's just a double dash on a minion and then going straight to the back line.
That's right.
The turtle gives that advantage to Joy. So Bao needs to be stationed at the turtle as soon as possible to prevent that from happening. His target should be that Joy right from the get-go, especially for the first turtle.
Yeah, and don't forget, Bao doesn't have level 4 yet. So
yeah,
that's also another potential issue. Yes, there's this wall that Bao can build, but Joy laughs at the walls, right? It can just dash across the wall. It doesn't really matter. Hop onto the turtle, get 2 dashes, and then start running down against the Eve. The Eve especially is going to be pivotal in terms of this whole team fight. You need to be able to catch as many members from the side of Team Evil as possible. Heck, even if you don't catch most of the team members, just catch one of them. One member down, King's Vanguard can follow up with other things.
So we're taking things slow. Turtle gets a reset. Sayla already level 4. King's Vanguard trying to desperate best to maintain that wave priority. Evil starting the turtle off. Looks like King's Vanguard gonna give this free turtle up.
Yeah, because King's Vanguard seems like they're not in position, right? They're focused on something else. Look at Nandes.
Shadow kill onto Ven, though. Able to dash out of the way. Nandes, one more hit. Will they be able to hit the mark? SOD goes wide. What a play from Ven. Good read.
Oof, I clenched right there, Churros. I clenched right there, Ven. Almost inevitable death, right? That's a massive gang that King's Vanguard fell on the top side, but at the very least puts a lot more pressure over Ven, allows Liechtenstein to breathe just a little bit.
Not giving us time to breathe, though. That was a huge, huge play. Very good dodge, very good weave.
Yeah,
but now
the turtle is a bit slow given up by King's Vanguard because technically speaking, Bao's not level 3 yet. Remember earlier just now, Evil was the one that has a lot more turtle priority because of how they balance the EXP.
Yeah, Powerful was super scary with the Baxia. Using the rolling shields just to scare Eve away. Got a first diversion play. Liechtenstein definitely sees where this is coming. Oh, able to get that mark. Will he get the diversion though?
Yeah, I like the fact that Sayla still putting some pressure, even though it's like, yeah, you basically burn the diversion all the way up top, but it should be right available for the next turtle fight, right? So good timing from the side of Sayla for now. But right here, I want to see more aggression coming off of Nandes. Nandes already level 7. This is where he truly really be able to shine. And King's Vanguard starting to pick up the items. Bao has the ultimate. There's no fights as of yet from the side of King's Vanguard. Feels like they're feeling scared against the magic of Team Evil.
Look, seeping into the 5-minute mark. We know how Evil likes to play. Definitely power. Oh, that's a SOD. Bao looking for an angle though. 3v2. Sayla's not
Nah.
there. Don't have the version just as of yet. They touch and they go. That would have been super scary as Nandes just around the corner.
Nah, they don't need to engage this fight because take a look. Turtle's going up in another 20 seconds. Van picks up the Heart's Claw. That's one of his main power spike. And now Van it looks comfortable to go into a fight, especially when the Turtle's spawning up top. And now we leave the EXP laners literally down in the bottom lane. As we compare both these two teams in terms of composition, but it seems like, Gear is the first one that makes a rotation, riding on the river to go all the way up top first.
The inbuilt sustain really helping him, especially in the lane dominance down the bottom EXP side. So slow rotation from Super Ryan, but he's around the corner as well. Powerful, trying to zone out Bao from getting close to Vincent. Turtle at half HP. Gear trying to go for that back line as well. Trying to target onto Nandes. No more shadows. It's a free Turtle over the side of Evil.
Luxury Stain cannot even join the fight because he already used
Diversion.
the diversion.
Onto back line. Finds a flank. It's a huge diversion play. It's a reaction. SOD won't be able to matter as of now. Powerful stuck underneath the turret. Won't be able to get out. Super Ryan taking a huge chunk of damage. Nandes goes down by the hands of Vincent. And Super Ryan get caught in the reactions. And Evil converting all these small little kills, 2 kills to their name, into objectives. First T1 down the mid side goes down.
That was a nice pickup coming out from the side of Team Evil, right? Gear possessing onto Bao, and then this is the best part of what I like to see from Team Evil, right? We take kills, we take objectives. Look, your mid lane is cracked open.
Yeah. They lost no one in that play. I thought Powerful was way too deep, getting CC'd underneath the turret. Oh, huge wall by Bao. Able to just flicker out. Ben is safe by Powerful.
Yep, flicker for flicker, but we need to see some follow-up coming up on the top side, right? But it feels like King's Vanguard, they're out of sync. They're the ones that have a good team fight earlier just now in game number 1, but this time around, game number 2, there's a little bit of mistrust coming in, and they're losing a lot of these massive objectives over side Team Evil. 2 turtles already secured by Team Evil. You have a mid lane that's cracked open. It's such an early time, and King's Vanguard in a spot of trouble.
I think their composition is a little breaking down a little bit right now. For Evil, though, everyone except Joy is on that side waves. Gear is keeping Super Ryan busy. It's so hard for Xbox to take a hit over the Gear, and I think that was what broke the camel's back, right?
Definitely. We talk about flipping the script just a little bit. King's Vanguard this time around, they're the one with the high ground defense, right? We've got the real world manipulation from the side of Walker Knuckle, but Vincent and also Sayla could always do something like that to basically just pull King's Vanguard out of position from the defense earlier. I want to see how, Team Evil put up a 2-prong attack against King's Vanguard.
Powerful caught in the wall, getting pulled back. Revitalize keeps him alive for now. Here comes the Goon Squad, though. We'll be able to get Powerful up and alive and away from that turtle. His 3rd turtle of the game. Here comes Vincent, though. Onto Luxury Stain. Huge hit. Riddler Joy might be able to take him down. One more hit. Gets pushed away. But the crystal, though. Vincent gets safe. Able to dash out, though, underneath the turret. Last Ascending will burst Vincent down. A little bit of a misread from that Joy.
Man, Vincent, that was a massive misread, right?
Yeah.
That's a little bit overconfident right there, like Powerful.
Hold on a second, RWM keeping Bao in play. Gear taking a lot of damage and hits from Nandes. Here comes Powerful, blocking off all entrance onto the back line. Ven has that damage right now. Definitely. They know, and King's Vanguard know that that's the core power spike of Evil coming through.
We have to call Vincent out, right? I thought, cool guys don't look at explosions. That's exactly what happened. Vincent thought he was a cool guy, but no, he's just a guy. But then again, he ultimately got punished. But what I like is Team Evil was still able to take advantage of that. Look at what Ven has done while Vincent is being taken down earlier just now. He takes the turtle for Team Evil.
Huge diversion play, taking Nandes down. Sayla caught in the process. You got SOD. Luxury Stain here in the picture as well. Luxury Stain free hitting from the back. Powerful caught between the wall and hard plays. Bao, one more hit. He might be able to go down, but the fires, the burn won't be enough to take him out of the game. Man. As of now, though, Evil ramping up that aggression. What I tell you, diversions left, right, and center.
Yeah, definitely. Team Evil is starting to ramp up in terms of momentum. No pun intended in terms of the momentum from Powerful. Powerful on his boxer. It feels like he's back in his element. He's back into this, jungle Baxia era, right? Remember, he used to be a tank jungler, and now this time around, haha, I'm not packing Retribution, I'm packing Revitalize alongside.
This gives him less pressure, but hold on a second. Nandes onto Vendo, shadow kill, saved by Powerful, takes away the main hits away from that. Here comes the version play. I don't think they know, though. Luxury Stain will be caught out. Here comes Sailor, though, blown up to smithereens by Super Ryan, but all is for naught. SK Evil, they run for the hills, they run for their lives. Ven is here with the damage, and King's Vanguard, they lose. Luxury Stain yet again, 0-2 for this Moskov.
Yeah, there's a trade for a mid lane for a gold lane, but Ven has to get out of there. If not, that trade will not be in the favor of Team Evil. Ven has to get out of there. He doesn't have the mana.
Bao Gets that fist crack though, but he's stuck by Powerful. The fist crack won't help him enough. Ben taking a lot of hits though, and a backline! Super Ryan with the last insanity to blow all of them up to smithereens. Gear desperately trying to buy enough time for Vincent to come in. For King's Vanguard, they know they're going for the side lane split pushes. This gives them some time, some relieving some pressure from that Lord. Without Powerful, without Ben, I don't think they can contest for this.
Definitely right. Team Evil, they definitely overstayed their welcome all the way up top. They basically exhausted every single thing. You can see even Ben down to the last remaining strands of mana has to burn the flicker just to get out of there, and that's where Super Ryan strikes. So good timing coming off King's Vanguard. I need to see King's Vanguard doing more rotations like this one, but look at Powerful Sailor and Gear. They're already here for Luxionstein.
Oh, it's a three-man gang onto Luxionstein. The collapse won't be able to hit. Luxionstein prances there, out alive. As
yeah, Sailor burned the diversion just to send their members all the way down there. Luxionstein kind of pulled everybody down. Don't forget, he has the SOD. He can easily join this Lord fight. King's Vanguard needs to secure this Lord. This needs to land.
The SOD lands. Here comes Luxionstein. Lord at a 5th. Won't be able to steal this away. Vincent busy on the bow, taking control of that. Nandes with the shadow kill will be able to take out Vincent. One more hit. Nandes will trade his life for Vincent.
It doesn't matter, man. Churros. King's Vanguard has done the damage that he needs to. Nandes can go down whatever. It's okay because they've denied the Lord away from Team Evil. Team Evil right now back on the defense. You can see it was Sailor using the diversion earlier just now to pull the rest of the members of Team Evil down to deal with Luxionstein. But don't forget, Luxionstein has the SOD to join. Once SOD joins, boom, the rest of Team Evil is unable to reinforce for the Lord fight up top. It's basically a 2v3 up top.
Big mistake corrected by a quick kill of that Lord down the bottom side. Take a look at itemizations. Look at all the power spikes that Bruno and the Moskov has. The Holy Trinity already built up by Luxionstein.
Oh,
for the side of Ben though, he does have the Malefic gun, so that's a lot of range, that's a lot of damage.
The bigger power spike goes over to Ven, man. Berserker's Fury hard claws for him to sustain, and then after that, the additional range. The Moskov, it's a little bit more closer, needs more close up. That's the range difference for a marksman that marks the difference between Team Evil's team fight versus King's Vanguard's team fight. Team Evil team fight is a lot more better, but they got out-rotated by King's Vanguard for now.
You know, from a sort of like a gold lane matchup, do you prefer a burst marksman or an attack speed marksman in this case?
I'll see mood.
You see the mood.
I'll see my mood. But okay, jokes aside, it's definitely regarding what kind of roster you want to deal with, right? For example, if your enemy is mostly like, the Baxias, more like the X-Borgs, more like the tanky ones, you need DPS. You need the DPS boys. The DPS boys like the Moskov, like your Claude, your Irithel to a certain extent comes into play. Carries definitely is one of the list, man.
Starting things off slow, 70 seconds till the next Lord spawns up. Evil still has the advantage, 5,000 gold lead. Yeah, seeping into level 15. Still have Nandes 2 levels behind Vincent.
Yeah, still not too bad, right? Look, Team Evil does have a small little turret right there. Heck, Gear could just tank the turret, and then after that send Vincent all the way down, slice that turret. Down at the very least, you got even more lanes push up against King's Vanguard, right? King's Vanguard is losing a lot of real estate in order for Luxionstein to farm. That's the main problem on the side of King's Vanguard. If you also notice, King's Vanguard, they're starting to rotate S5, and that's a problem, right? As a Moskov, you also have the mobility to jump from one place to another to join the fight. You also have the Abyss Walker to basically do your outplay. You can peel for yourself. So Moskov is a perfect kind of roster for this. And on top of maybe with the help of Nandes, he can also kind of like provide you vision on the bottom side.
Look, very good reconnaissance from Gear and Powerful. They didn't see this foul get caught out. It's an insanity from Super Ryan. And things going ham. Vincent with the Rhythm of Joy won't be able to take anyone out. But huge resource taken over to the hands of King's Vanguard.
Perfect timing coming off Team Evil, right? Team Evil using the diversion, and also just to be able to knock out Bao, and now King's Vanguard cannot go for the Lord unless, Nandes has to try to steal it away from them. There's a lot of pressure from the side of King's Vanguard. They have to try to do it, but I don't think they'll be there in time. Team Evil secures the Lord for themselves.
Free Lord over to Evil. King's Vanguard does have a little bit of a high ground, especially with the RWM. We'll see how things play out as Evil has that death ball strategy. They do have the diversion. They could pop out at any one point of that side turrets. Yep. So that's going to be a tricky situation for King's Vanguard. No bush is safe. Even their base isn't safe.
Yeah, but technically speaking, I would say their base is safe, right? Because they've got 3 bases among themselves. They also got a real world manipulation from the side of Walker Nako. So Walker Nako doesn't really have to look backwards, just have to focus his damage frontwards so that like King's Vanguard, yes, it seems like, you know, Team Evo is pushing back King's Vanguard right into where King's Vanguard's roster shines. Defensive. Don't forget, one Bao's ultimate with the wall can potentially change the whole tide if Team Evo makes the mistakes. Team Evo is holding a scalpel around the orator of a heart right now.
It's all down to Bao. Looking for information, looking for an angle of approach. But from the back line, Vincent Nandez 1v1, powerful, trying to target lock onto Luchtenstein. The turret will go down, but the last hit off that Lord, the Super Ryan clears out all access. But it's just a waiting game as of now. King's Vanguard, they don't want to go out. And Evo, they don't want to go in.
Churros, I wasn't expecting this, man. I wasn't expecting Walker Knuckle not to burn a real world manipulation, because their strength lies in making sure that these base turrets don't get taken down. Evo is basically knocking on these doors one after another.
Nice little spray from Super Ryan to keep everyone at bay, but Ven dealing a lot of damage. This is a late game Bruno we're talking about right now. King's Vanguard, saving grace, they still have 2 T3s on that side waves. The mid lane in shambles though. Evil, they have an angle of approach. The entire jungle is theirs. King's Vanguard can't afford to step foot out of their house.
Not only just that, yeah, right? Like, you step foot, all of a sudden, Powerful will just roll right into your face.
Or Sailor's diversion play.
Sailor diversion right into your face. Then the whole team literally comes out, and that's why, you know, you see a lot of chip ban, you see a lot of lawyer bans because of these global plays. Take a look at the items right here. You can see Joyce, like, perma-stack right now. There's not a lot of resistance coming out from the side of King's Vanguard. It's mostly, all I see is just, you know, armor items. They're gonna get melted easily, especially for the side of Luchtenstein and even to a certain extent Yi, right? Walker Knuckle, I think your next item definitely has to go for a Winter's Crown, because you're gonna get targeted down by Vincent's ultimate.
Here on Connaughton's duty, pushing every one of the members of King's Vanguard out and away into their homes. There's no one that can deal with the glue. I think he just brings annoyance, but the rest of the team can always divert over to where Gear is, and that's the quick backup. Look where Powerful is. They're taking control of both sides of the jungle.
Yeah, I think Luchtenstein can definitely deal with the glue churros. Like, you need DPS to deal with Gear as that glue, and you need to King's Vanguard need to try to elongate that fight even more. But the problem is, if you take a look at the front line from the side of King's Vanguard, Super Ryan and also Bao, but Super Ryan is kind of front line that goes in to lose his HP when he goes into Last Insanity, right? So that's something that King's Vanguard needs to be a little bit aware of when they play all this. They need to try to burst down Team Evo, catch Ven, catch Vincent, catch Sailor if you can, leave Gear to its own devices, and Team Evo secures a free lord for themselves.
Man, it's looking dire for King's Vanguard, but they do have that high ground. 10k gold behind of Evil. Can't even step foot in their own jungle. Can't even pick up the scraps. The only saving grace is they do have the minions coming their way. Lord marching up in that mid side. Evil slowing down the tempo a little bit. Sayla always watching. He's like Messi. He's no wasted movements at all.
Yeah, the 3-prong attacks, at least you got 2-prong right now, right? Unfortunately, mid lane is so short. It's not timed properly, but it's okay. Right now, Team Evo just need to distract King's Vanguard right here, whereas the 2 lanes are getting pressured right now.
Luchtenstein dealing with that bottom side. Won't be able to survive that one. Vincent already popped into Rhythm of Joy. Here, a little bit too deep with the little bit of a possession right there. Last Insanity to blow them up. Winter Crown in the nick of time for Powerful, keeping him up alive. It's a very tricky spot that Evo's in. The Lord making his way to the home, and all the King's horses and all the King's men don't care, but the King's Vanguard is there again. They're targeting the throne. They're going for the end. There's no more minions. They're going in deep. Walker Knuckle's the only one standing, but Evo with a 2-0 clean sweep.
We are basically on the way to a massive upset in terms of the seeding, Churros. Team Evo picking 2-0 against King's Vanguard. We talk about the momentum. This is the kind of momentum they're looking for going into the 3rd match later on. So congratulations over Team Evo. A lot of things are starting to look up. The playoff buff starting to look really strong for Team Evo.
Dude, this is super dominant. 10k, 12k gold lead by the end of the game for Team Evo. From the early start, it's a little bit shaky, but Ven made plays. Ven was locked in. He was online right from the start. We talked about the gold lane to gold lane matchup. Both my eyes were on Luchtenstein basically, but he didn't really pop off. Every single time he had an opportunity, he was either too scared or the rest of the team weren't following it up enough, or the damage was a little bit too low for any backup whatsoever.
Yeah, and I also think that it's also because Liechtenstein, remember what we talked about, right? Liechtenstein is kind of gold laner that needs that confidence that, hey, I am 10k ahead. Hey, I've got enough items to start fighting, right? Else he won't join the fight. And this is exactly what happened. Once you start putting a lot of pressure on his side of the lane, he's unable to farm, he's unable to join the fight. If you notice, remember what we pointed out, right? Moscow is supposed to be split pushing, right? Start creating more pressure on the side. He doesn't even dare because Sayla is right there just to also turn around and basically jump over to the fight.
So let's talk about stakes right now.
Mhm.
2-0, Evil 1. They're up 3 points. So right now, 7 points. They're third in the seeding right now. And King's Vanguard, Kingdom Esports still equal in 6 points.
Yep, correct. So right here, I've got the stats right here. So Evo's going to get 7 points. King's Vanguard on the other hand will remain at 6 points, like what you said. So they're going up a little bit, and now the next person to step on, basically using them as a step ladder, is looking at Kingdom Esports. I'm looking forward to that one.
Got a big question for you. Is Evil safe? Even if they lose 2-0 to Kingdom Esports, are they safe?
Yeah.
Because now KGV doesn't have a game anymore.
Yeah, definitely, right? KGB looking really shaky right now, right? Even if Evil loses that one, yeah, they're gonna basically shove King's Vanguard down all the way to the challenger stage.
You don't like to
I
put
think that's it.
you don't like to put your fates in others' hands. So KGV
Mhm.
one, I think this is it. They're going into the
Could
challenger
be,
stage.
could be.
Very, very high
Yeah.
chance. From a hit-to-hit matchup though, Kingdom Esports still wins out KGV. So I don't think it's safe to say we'll wait for the production to bring up the
Definitely.
statistics.
Yeah, let me
because we
do my
wanna have-
homework right now.
We'll do our homework.
I'll do my homework.
On
I've got
stream.
my notepads ready.
Jay's Cast, twitch.com.
Yeah, but anyways, let's take a look at the stats, ladies and gents. I feel like the stats really doesn't tell the whole incredible story of Team Evil for the past 2 games, because it was a dominant showing. Team Evil sensed that they're already being cornered in their seedings, and they really fought back, right? They found the adaptations. Powerful man. He found his secret sauce, and it's the Baxia that's been rising in terms of the ranks, in terms of our MPL Singapore picks. Because of his flexibility, you would never think that Baxia could also go into gear, no doubt,
Yeah.
right? Then Powerful can come into like perhaps a Tigreal going in, and it scares everybody. And heck, even if you replace the Baxia with the glue, and then after that you replace Powerful with Tigreal, Sayla diversion is gonna look even scarier.
Dude, so dominant. It's like Evil is playing chess, KGV playing checkers.
Nah, they're playing
a different game.
Nah, they're playing scissor, paper, stone.
Rock, paper, scissors, right? But for the side of Evil, though, you have gear on the top side, you have
Definitely.
powerful on the bottom side. Sailor's just watching, he's not even farming, funneling every single minion onto
yeah.
Ven. That was so immaculate.
Yep.
And what is Vincent doing? Just split pushing the sideways, split pushing the sideways. He's done with the top side, moving down over to the bottom side. And Ven was constantly farming down the mid side.
Yep.
They know, and they can't even come out once they know gear is there. Do a little bit of poke damage, especially with the Yeve, and then the rest of the members, the Goon Squad comes in and take you all out. So
something very interesting, Churros, that I've also noticed from the side of Team Evil is that, yes, we're gonna see them later on in the next game. If you notice Sayla's gold, it's not ideal coming from a mid laner. If you go over to the damage deal, I'm not too sure, but if you go over to the damage deal, Sayla's not really exactly like a damage dealer. This is the only game where he had one of the higher damage dealt, because if you notice for the past few games, as a Loi at the very least, he's unable to do a lot of damage because he's more of a utility mage player in this particular season for some weird reason. Last season, a few seasons ago, he's more like what, a Faramis, a Valentina, the Kagura for a certain extent. But this time around, you start to see that Sayla is taking a back seat in terms of utility. So what does that mean? Gear need to step up with a lot more damage. You also need to expect Powerful to be a little more like a secondary utility. Maybe like that's why you start to see Powerful picking the likes of the Badang.
yeah, I do have to echo 100% whatever you're saying. I felt like this Loi, the threat that Loi brings is basically having the ultimate, the diversion in arm.
Yep.
So as long as it's armed and ready, that's it. KGV
Yep.
can't even come out because you're waiting patiently for the diversion to come in. It
Correct.
doesn't have to, but as long as there's a potential backline gank from any angle at all,
Yes.
that is the threat.
Yeah, it's like a threat of somebody holding on a pistol at your head, in your head.
Yeah, you don't have to pull the trigger.
You don't have to pull the trigger. You don't even need to. It doesn't have to be loaded.
Yeah.
But you feel the fear, and that's what Sayla is doing. Putting a gun over to the side of King's Vanguard's head. and there's not they're scared. They're scared to do anything. You also start to notice that Luxian Singh doesn't even dare to step out of his own base.
Yeah.
You start to see, Nande's having trouble as well because you never know, diversion could appear right next to you.
Yeah, this is Evo's villain arc, no pun intended. Honestly, though,
I thought
this
the Villa arc
game-
was last season.
this is this is the Raza Ghul arc. You're climbing that
okay, we're going
mountaintop.
to go
You're
there.
meditating, and
Okay,
this
we're
was
going to go
just
there.
so dominant, so immaculate. I have no words to say. I have goosebumps and jitters on my skin.
He doesn't.
But the question is, who do you think the MVP is?
I personally want to give it over to the side of Ven because he's been really kicking down a lot of doors on that Bruno, right? But
Yep.
at the same time, we also harp on a lot of Sailor as well. So I'm torn between these two. And what do you think?
Ah, man, it's tough because every single one of the players knows their job, especially like
Mhm.
uh, Gear knows his place. He's always right there. Powerful
Yep.
knows his place, always right there. But I have to say, at the end of the day, Ven really showed up, especially in the early game when he dodged that out. But it will be the Sailor as Loi 3-1-7 on his scoreline,
Yep.
KDA 71% with a huge
I think his impact.
presence.
Yeah, his impact is that his
his
presence is
value.
felt globally.
Yes, sir.
Right, I
With
think
the global
that's
ultimate as well.
The global ultimate that allows him his timing on the diversions as well, bringing the rest of his team alongside to catch people by the side lanes. He disabled the Moscow. He disabled the Hayabusa from actually split pushing. So there you go, MVP of the game. Not only just in terms of stats, but in terms of his presence being felt around the game.
Man,